and welcome to the Leading with Lean podcast. My name's Philip Holt, author of Leading with Lean, The Simplicity of Lean, and Leading Lean by Living Lean. And in this podcast, I narrate all three of my books, chapter by chapter, in which I share with you my over 30 years of experience as a lean leader across many companies globally. Leading with Lean, Chapter 14, Creating the Lean Enterprise. Being the doctor, not the shopkeeper. The lean leader needs to lead the organisation on its journey to reach operational excellence. This destination will be reached through learning and adopting lean thinking, and with the use of the four leadership styles of activist leadership, visible leadership, mosquito leadership, and coaching leadership, they will model, demonstrate, encourage, and coach their colleagues. This requires that the lean leader acts not as a shopkeeper, providing whatever their colleagues may ask for, but as a doctor, first understanding the problem that they need to solve and diagnosing its cause before prescribing a treatment. This is a core element of understanding what the customer values by not focusing on the solution that they say they want, but instead on the problem that they require a solution for. This is synonymous with a comment of Henry Ford when he said that, "If I'd asked my customers what they wanted, they'd have asked for a faster horse." Unfortunately, this takes a little longer in the short term than simply providing what has been asked for. It will, however, pay dividends, as acting as the doctor, rather than the shopkeeper, will help the team members get past their state of unconscious incompetence or not knowing what they don't know, into the learning state of conscious incompetence. The behaviour required by the lean leader and the continuous improvement team of lean experts to support this is challenging and is sometimes counterintuitive for both the lean expert and the recipient of the behaviour. The recipient has most likely asked for the support of the lean expert, and instead of simply getting what they asked for, they're asked a series of questions and asked to invest time in creating a problem statement and developing an A3 charter. This can be annoying to someone who is already extremely busy and just wants the lean expert to help them by doing what they have asked. The lean expert must therefore have both the courage and the resilience not to fall into the trap of taking the easy option and simply doing what has been asked, as it will be a mistake that will certainly come back to haunt them. Instead, they must maintain true north and act as the guide, but how they do it will be the difference between a frustrated colleague and one that, through the process, developed an understanding and appreciation of the benefits of doing things with lean thinking. If you're in a hole, stop digging. Imagine a scenario whereby you employed a builder who you'd heard through recommendation was really good at building swimming pools. On the first day, the builder arrives with her team and you inform them that they are required for 2 weeks and that they should start digging a hole in the back garden. Whilst the builder is rather bemused at the request, you are quite insistent that they should go and dig a hole, and so the builder takes his team and does what he's been told. During your research, you'd read that digging is a key part of swimming pools, and so you want to ensure that the builder is focused on it. The builder and the team worked tirelessly for a week, but upon your return, you're disappointed to find a rather deep, small diameter hole in the corner of the garden, something that looks nothing like a swimming pool and is located in the wrong place. After heated discussions with the builder, it soon becomes clear that, whilst digging a hole might be essential to swimming pool construction, there are many other elements required to ensure its successful completion. After ironing out this confusion and answering some of the builder's questions about the requirements for size, style, usage and budgets, you inform that the pool can be constructed in 6 days and are given a quotation that is within budget. However, you're also given an invoice for the 7 days of work that the builder and their team have spent digging the original hole. Whilst the above may seem a little ridiculous, it's analogous with many scenarios that I've experienced where a lean expert has been requested to support a team or project. It's surprisingly common to find that the requester's motivation seems to be that they've been told that they need a lean expert by someone, maybe their boss or a colleague who's had great results with lean thinking, or that they've heard that they should do a value stream map or run a Kaizen event before executing the project. It is not unusual in this type of scenario that the lean expert services are requested for a fixed period of time and that they are expected to be available to facilitate the application of whichever tool or technique it is that the team may believe necessary. Inevitably, the situation the team experience is a similar disappointment to that of the swimming pool metaphor, with some form of lean tool or technique having been applied, a hole having been dug, but the business outcome that they desired, the swimming pool, being far from their sight. This results in frustration for both the team members and the lean expert, and it's deleterious to their relationship and to the credibility of the lean program in the organisation. This often happens because both the requester and the lean expert have forgotten to start with the why, and instead they have both focused on each of their versions of the what, resulting in confusion over the how. While all of our team members are accountable for properly defining the why of an activity, the lean expert must take a leading role in assuming the responsibility not to simply dig holes where they are asked to, but instead ensure that a clear problem statement has been defined in order that the objectives of the activity, project or event can be defined and the charter agreed to. This A3 thinking approach is core to lean thinking and will ensure that the appropriate intervention and lean methodology is selected and that the team, including the lean expert, are fully aligned on what they are doing and why they aim to achieve and how they will go about doing so. Often, taking the time to challenge a request for one's time can be difficult for the lean expert for a number of reasons, including when hierarchically senior people have made the request, due to the momentum or speed of the associated project or program, or simply because of the time required in the short term to adequately think about the why plan rather than simply reacting to the request do. However, ensuring rigour around the planning part of the process always results in a better outcome, and so these barriers must be overcome. Lean thinking is more than just the application of the toolkit, and similarly, being a lean expert is more than simply knowing the lean tools. It's therefore essential that the lean expert acts as a lean thinking coach to the organisation, determining where their time can be best spent and refocusing the welcome requests for their help to maximise the impact. This shouldn't and mustn't be done in a distant or parochial manner, but instead through partnering with the requesters and taking them through the development of their A3 charters. As the well-worn saying goes, when you're in a hole, stop digging. For the lean expert and their colleagues, it is critical that they avoid digging holes where they're not needed. The Centre of Excellence. In Chapter 4, I discussed the recruitment of the right types of people into the organisation and the use of consultants, external hires, and internal recruitment and development. In order that this cohort of people can make a difference, they need to be formed into a continuous improvement team of lean experts that can effectively transform the business. As also discussed in Chapter 4, we don't want to have too large a group of corporate experts, but instead what I call distributed expertise throughout the organisation, whereby there are team members throughout the organisation with the requisite lean thinking and skills to enable the transformation. This requires a well-organised approach to the setting of the deployment model standards, training curriculum and targets. The best approach to this is to establish a Centre of Excellence or Competency Centre. At Philips, the CI practice has been established as the foundation of Philips Excellence and is the Centre of Excellence responsible for all of the CI standards across the company. This Centre of Excellence will be relatively small and, even in the largest of corporations, will consist of a team of a few lean experts, a change and communications manager, and a knowledge management lead, with the remaining expertise distributed throughout the organisation. This Centre of Excellence will act as a virtual manner such that even in the example of the large corporation, they will be geographically distributed to support the various regions and locations. For example, in a company headquartered in Europe, 4 might sit in EMEA, 3 in APAC, 2 in North America, and 1 in LATAM. This is, of course, simply for illustrative purposes, but the point is that the Centre of Excellence should never be too far from the Gemba. The Centre of Excellence must be the beacon for change and will set the following standards for the lean transformation of the organisation. The Lean Deployment Model, Chapter 5. The Lean Expert Standards and the Recruitment, Chapters 4 and 16. The Lean Learning Curriculum, Training and Certification, Chapter 4. The Change and Communication Plan, Chapter 3. The Business Excellence Competition and the Knowledge Database, Chapter 13, and then finally the Kainkaku Experiences and Managing the Benchmark Database, Chapter 10. The COE must never become detached from the business, and so it's important that the COE team members have objectives shared with the business. Whilst they do need to have leading indicators such as the number of certified lean practitioners, lean stage progression per site, standard work compliance and so on, they must never be able to claim that they have successfully met their objectives if the business overall has failed to meet its goals. This is again a strain on the lean expert, as they will have similar pressures to that of their business colleagues and therefore the temptation to work in a traditional manner. This means that a balance of leading and business metrics in combination with a critical focus on living the lean behaviours is required by the head of the COE. As the lean transformation progresses, these balanced metrics will become more prevalent in the business itself, leading to a reduction in the tension between the lean experts and their business colleagues. The COE must consist of the lean thought leadership for the organisation and, as such, its team members must be both empowered and accountable for living the lean paradigms and consistently communicating the lean vision. This requires that they have the courage to communicate to the organisation through the various media defined in the communication plan, and will be willing to openly challenge the status quo of the organisation, even when this might feel uncomfortable. Being part of the centre of excellence and creating the lean enterprise has the obligation attached to it. As the COE gains its credibility and inherent reputation, the demand for its services will increase significantly, and it's therefore important that its team have clear initiatives and objectives linked to the organisation's Holt and Canry, and that they are confident enough to say no to those requests that are not part of the priorities set. This in itself is a skill, and in Chapter 16, I'll discuss what I've termed the intelligent no. Hi, Philip here. Sorry to interrupt the narration of this particular chapter, but I just wanted to remind you that all of my personal profits from the books go to charity. So if you would like to buy a book, it would really be helpful. Otherwise, if you feel that the podcast is sufficient, then please feel free to make a donation to my current charity, which is Women's Aid. It's a great charity which helps to stop domestic violence for women and children. Thank you. Coaching upward. To create the lean enterprise, the lean leader and the COE need to infect the organisation with lean thinking. And the best way to effect this is through its leadership, although it isn't necessarily the easiest. In order to do this, as early as possible in the lean transformation, the lean leader and their experts must win over a few senior leaders who are enthusiastic and willing to be activists in the lean transformation. The aim of this is that, through the coaching of these leaders, the multiplier effect on the organisation will be significant as they begin to model the desired behaviours within their area of the business and thus encourage their people to follow their lead. This is an ultimately rewarding experience for the lean experts. They begin to coach people in their organisation who operate at a higher level than they are used to. So provided that the lean expert is up to the task, it can become a symbiotic relationship, as both learn from each other and augment their understanding of the business and how to achieve operational excellence. Nevertheless, this coaching relationship, that of coaching upward, is fraught with difficulty, as the first requirement is for the senior leader to accept the coaching of a junior in the organisation, not necessarily because of an inherent attitude that the subordinate cannot teach them anything, but due to their doubts over the lean expert's understanding of how the business operates at a level of understanding commensurate with theirs. This is the second challenge of the coaching relationship, as a lean expert must have the confidence and belief in their ability to understand the strategic operations of the business and to be able to apply their lean expertise to its improvement. The lean leader must therefore ensure that the recruitment of their lean experts is focused not only on their lean tool and project management skills that are common in the majority of lean experts, but also the less commonly available business acumen and ability to influence at a senior leadership level. They must further spend significant time coaching and developing the lean experts in order that they discharge their leadership coaching duties adequately and effectively. Despite the challenges, once the momentum starts to build, a virtuous cycle is created as word of mouth gets around those leaders not yet involved and the demand for the coaching increases to the point of critical mass. Again, the lean leader needs to have a clear plan of coaching for those leaders prioritised for the early stages and must apply the intelligent no in the event of the coaching demand becoming excessive. However, whilst building the leadership coaching programme, they ought to be building the capacity of lean experts to provide the coaching, and as those senior leaders pioneering in their own lean certification reach the path to lean expert certification, they can be paired up with their peers and act as additional coaching resources. Building the leadership impact. By definition, a lean organisation must have a lean leadership, and leading with lean must become the norm across all of the leadership and at every level of the organisation. The lean leader can no longer be you or I, the people tasked with making the lean transformation happen. In fact, whilst we are known as the lean guy or a member of the lean team, we should realise that we are still far from our goal. The organisation's leadership should be part of the lean curriculum, and their certification at the appropriate level is a must. Typically, all people in leadership roles, from the team leader right through to the CEO, should be certified at the lean advanced level. And, just as with the general population, at least 10% of them have to be certified at the lean expert level. In fact, in my experience, it's an area where overdriving on the certification is not wasteful, as those people in leadership positions are able to make a significant impact on the organisation, and therefore, as they work through their certifications, their Kaizen activity will be highly impactful on the business, their role modelling highly contagious, and the legacy that it leaves in their style of leadership substantial. To get to this level of certification, lean leadership training is required, and the Centre of Excellence must develop one that meets the needs of the lean leader to understand both the lean methodology as well as the change and lean leadership aspects. This is not an easy course to develop, and at Royal Philips it took some time to get it right, but resulted in training that is highly effective. One of the difficulties of this type of training is that to truly engross the participant in the softer aspects of lean thinking, a substantial, contiguous period of time is required. Unlike training in the tools, which can be done in small blocks of say 1 or 2 days, to train people in leading leadership requires several consecutive days during which the participant is intensely trained. In the end-to-end lean leadership training that we developed at Royal Philips, the participant undergo 8 days of training across 2 weeks, normally with a weekend in between. The training is delivered by 2 lean masters and is fully residential, ensuring that the cohort of between 24 and 32 participants are fully immersed in the learning experience. During the first week, normally running from Tuesday to Friday, the participants are placed in teams of 6 to 8 people, assigned a team colour of red, green, blue or yellow, and asked to create their own team image. The teams are concurrently trained in aspects of lean leadership and assigned tasks, with the trainers placing the teams in competition with each other, awarding or deducting points from each team on the basis of performance and lean behaviour adherence. During this first week, the majority of team members, and hence the teams, perform in a traditional manner and hence are unable to adequately deliver the required results or behave in a lean manner. During the first week, the trainers have taken a traditional approach to their management of the training course, and as such, the participants have mainly been given instruction as to the requirements and penalised when the performance hasn't been met. However, in the second week, the trainers take a different approach, whereby they act as coaches to the teams and help them to reflect on their performance, understand why they aren't performing, setting targets to improve, and, through hindsight, deep reflection, developing their lean behaviours. This allows the teams and their participants to bring themselves through the change curve that they've been experiencing and become high-performance teams and team members. By the end of the second week, whilst one team is always pronounced the competition winner, all of the teams have won in terms of their learning and the performance that they end with. The training, whilst intense, is only the first part of those potential lean leaders' learning process, as coming out of the training they are assigned a personal lean coach and must complete a 90 days follow-up plan, which, if successfully executed, results in their certification at the lean advanced level of certification, the equivalent of a green belt level of certification. While the naming of the follow-up plan implies that the improvement project or Kaizen event that they undertake takes 90 days, this is only the expected minimum duration of the plan and do elements of the PDCA cycle, as the check and act phases would normally take longer, with the typical duration to completion being around 6 to 9 months. However, once certified, this is the platform for the continuation to lean expert and, ultimately, lean master level, and many of the graduates continue their lean leadership learning journey. Although not every organisation will choose or need such an intensive approach to the development of their lean leaders, it's my experience that those truly lean thinking organisations have one way or another taken their leadership through a significant amount of lean leadership training, coaching and development, and the reader should think seriously about how they will make this happen in their organisation. Enterprise-wide transformation. This chapter is entitled Creating the Lean Enterprise, and throughout, the focus has been on the leadership aspects and their development, as they are essentially the difference between the lean enterprise and the rest. The lean transformation model that you use will, whether it is the viral model or another, have a replication stage where the learning from the model value streams and sites is scaled across the whole organisation. The inherent risk is that this becomes a technical rollout whereby the tools and methodology are scaled, but the leadership and lean behaviours aren't. However, the enterprise-wide transformation can and will only happen when the leadership approach is scaled, and so the training, coaching and certification of our leaders must be front and centre in the transformation approach. And once again, the Centre of Excellence plays a key role in this, undertaking commission buy on the organisation to ensure that shortcuts aren't being taken in replicating the successes of the model phase.